Hey everyone, it's Fashino around here with some new player tips for UO Forever, one of the best servers on the internet, if not the best, and brought to you by General Militia GM. So, taming is the path to easy street in the game. You make a ton of money, but for balance purposes, it is the hardest skill to raise. It takes about 55 to 60 hours to really get you where you need to go. It's very expensive. So, how do you do it? How do you get there? Well, obviously you got to do a lot of taming, and there's a lot of clicking that goes along with a lot of taming. And that's really what slows so many people down. It's just you have to peacemake who you're dealing with, perhaps. Then you have to tame them, actually the button for taming. Then you have to, if you're successful, release them. And if you're not successful, you have to try to retame them. So there's just a lot of clicking that goes along with all of that. So this video, more than anything, is really philosophically, how do you make your life easier in the game? How do you make it so you don't have to do quite as much clicking? Some of you who are coming back to the game 20 years ago, Razor wasn't this robust. And there's a lot of really cool stuff it can do now. So it's important to think about whenever you are playing, how can Razor make my life easier on this? So I'm focusing on Razor because I know it the best. A lot of my guildies love Steam, and Steam is really, really great. I sort of philosophically like Razor to start off with. It's what I've used for the longest. But there's some really great taming scripts out there concerning Steam, and I would highly recommend, once you get comfortable with the idea of macros and you start to advance on the server, you really seriously look at Steam. Okay, caveats aside, here we go. So I want to tame this polar bear. Alright, so instead of clicking 1,000 times, I want to be able to do it with one button. So how do I do that? Well, I have a macro set up to show you exactly that. So I'm just going to push my hotkey and it's going to do it. Ready? Here we go. So I push my hotkey, and I'll let you follow along over here. This is my taming macro. It gives me the peacemaking option. So now I peacemake him. The guy can't move. So he's peacemake. So now you'll see over here, and I'll walk through each step of this in a minute, but over here, it's starting to run through the rest of the macro. So now it's actually starting the taming part of the macro. So it's trying to tame this guy. Seems to accept me, so it's done. Now the macro continues, and it says a polar bear release. Gives me, pull this down for you, gives me this little script here. I click continue, and I no longer have a polar bear pet. Now he's peace-made, so it might take a second, but you'll see here that this guy will not be my pet very soon. He has been given the order to release. So that's one button to do all of that, and all I just have to do is watch, because AFK macroing is not allowed, of course, on the server. So I'm just standing here, watch it. I pressed one button, it's done. That's a lot better than click, 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 click. So what's the sort of details of the macro? Well, first of all, you want to use the peacemaking skill. And just to be clear, the way I did this is I pulled up the skill screen, and this is a ton of trial and error and a ton of editing to try to make this work. But it's totally worth it, because it just saves so much time in the long run. So I just went through and I used the skill peacemaking, of course recording it. I put in a conditional statement, special constructs, insert, pause, or wait. And I figured about 8 seconds is about what I need. It's usually 8 to 10 seconds in between skills on the server. Otherwise you'll get these annoying sort of you waiting for another skill. You can't seem to do that right now. So 8 to 10 seconds depending on lag. So after that, you're good to go to use another skill, which is animal taming. Wait for target. And here I made sure I edit my timeout. Make sure you edit that down to just a couple of seconds, because otherwise it defaults to like 30 or 40 seconds. And that's just a huge pain. Execute last target. So this is a critical thing, because when you first record this macro, the target will be an actual target. So in this case, it's this poor polar bear who's getting his self drugged on right now by these various red things out here. You have to go into your special construct. You have to go in here and change your targeting, which it's not giving you right now. You have to change your targeting to last target, which was the peacemaking. So again, it's just another way to save a button for you. 13-second pause is about what it takes for a taming script to run through. Sorry, just going to get out of harm's way here. And then the part that I'm sort of proud of is when you're recording, you can stop the recording and then you can say begin recording from here. So what I've done is I've just gone through and I've said these things, again, just to try to minimize the amount of clicking I need to do. So every time I tame a new type of creature, I just insert here, begin recording here, add in the A polar bear release, because that's the name of the creature, not that one, and it'll go through the process. Instead of me having to click on it and release it, it'll do all the work for me and I just have to click a button. So that's how I've managed sort of the crazy clicking that goes in with taming. But more than anything, this is philosophical. I want you to think about this big picture, like what can you do in the game to make your life a little bit easier so you don't have to do quite so much clicking. Okay, thanks again. I'll see you guys in game.